Alright, we're gonna call to order and open the BZA and Planning Commission meeting for January of 25.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We did not have any minutes for the BZA to approve from last month. So, what we need to do for this month is elect officers for the Board of Zoning Appeals.
These fellas.
What?
I'm joking.
Well, I make a motion to make Eric the president of the BCA this year.
I'm sorry.
I said I make a motion to make you the president this year of the BZA.
I re-motion that.
Okay.
Thank Nick.
Whatever.
Nick has better shoulders, I think.
Not really. They barely hold my suspenders.
Maybe it's just padding.
Hey, it sounds good to me.
Okay. All in favor of me being the chair?
Favorite?
Supposed to say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Alright, flip a coin. Who wants to be the vice chair? You've been here longest. Alright, I make a motion that you're the vice chair.
I don't know what all the responsibilities of that.
Cover my absence.
She's gonna say something else.
Does in that.
All right, who were the
It was-
first and second motion for Nick being nominated as president?
Tom was first,
Tom was
Eric was second. It's basically, if we have a BZA meeting, I can't make it to it, you couldn't sit up here and conduct it.
We have.
Man, if I can figure it out, you can figure it out.
Okay.
Alright, I make a motion that Eric be vice chair.
I second that
Oh.
motion.
I'm first.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Alright, the BZA portion is closed. Moving on to the Planning Commission. We had minutes for last month. I make a motion to approve last month's minutes as they're written. All in favor? Or, well, I make a motion, I need a first and a second,
BZA
sorry.
plan.
Planning.
First. Aye.
Are you on the Planning
You said
Commission?
You're in a second.
And I was voting.
You're not on the Planning Commission. So I need a first.
Has there been a first?
No.
I'll make a
Okay.
motion, we accept the minutes, December.
Cindy makes a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Moving on to the election of officers. I'm currently the chair. Dave is vice chair or assistant chair. Have any volunteers for this year? Or any suggestions?
So, just proper parliamentary procedure. I open the floor for nominations. That's what you should say. And then,
Did I tell you I'm from Indiana? Not England.
it doesn't matter. Open
Okay.
the floor.
Open the floor for nominations
For the chair.
for the chair.
I don't want to suggest somebody because I don't know if they want to be it, so.
Would you like to be it?
Well,
miss a meeting, that's it. Be nominated if you're not here.
I'm not.
You're not gonna nominate somebody?
No, because I don't know if they wanna do it.
What about yourself?
No, thank you.
She didn't even think about it, did she?
I know. I was hoping to get some thought process. Any suggestions? No?
Dave, are you?
Any suggestions, Dave, on a nomination for chair, since it's open for nominations?
No.
Okay. You, Doug?
Whose chair is that? Who's the current chair?
Me?
Nick?
Oh, Nick is?
Mhm.
Oh, that's fine, Nick. Nominate Nick.
All right, we have a nomination for Nick for chair.
I'll second.
You're not on the planning commission.
Oh, I'm
Right.
sorry. I tried.
Do you have any suggestions?
All right, I'll second the motion.
Okay. All in favor of Nick being the chair again?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Nick is the chair. Now, vice chair. That would be, I need to open the floor up for nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Leanne.
Okay,
I was thinking Cindy.
we got a nomination for Leanne for vice chair.
I was thinking Cindy. She's been around a while on the board.
Nominate, I second Leanne.
Okay, Leanne is seconded.
All in favor of Leanne being chair?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Leanne is chair, vice chair. Vice chair. Leanne, okay, that takes care of that. So then we've got a couple new members, cause we've had a couple drop out, and, one could not make it this evening. We'll be here the next meeting. Doug knows more about it. Tell us
Yeah,
more about it.
Edith Watson, she's lived here in town for 30-plus years, and so I talked her into taking Otis Mitchell's spot, since he can't due to family commitments. I did thank Otis for his time. He's served with us for 2 years, so that was very helpful. Edith will step in. She did warn me that her mom had surgery yesterday, that if she didn't make it, it was gonna be because of issues related to that, but she will be here next month, to start her term serving with us here. And then, Terry, Barrett, am I saying that right? Barrett, Terry Barrett, she's lived here in town for a couple years.
4 years.
4, okay.
Same with Tammy. We moved here.
All right, so she's lived here in town for 4 years, and so she is going to serve with us, take Bob Noss's place, and so she will.
Okay. All right, that fills
You
us
need to
up.
get Terry's email address.
Yeah, we'll have to get all your information,
Okay.
phone number and email, so we can get you in the email chain. Just to give you a little up to speed, we've recently been working on our comprehensive plan book. We had groups going, 2 different groups. One looking at wayfinding signs, that was Dave's group, and then my group was strategy number 2 in the book was looking at zoning adjustments, things that needed to be updated in the UDO that fell in that zoning classification. Updated meaning if they'd been approved years ago for like a certain business to operate or whatever, and the wording wasn't correct in the UDO, we're looking for those discrepancies and updating it. That's what we've been working on. For a while, the next
You
big
know what he means when he says UDO?
universal development order,
No,
ordinance.
no. Unified Development. It's, what we use to determine use of property, zoning classifications, those kinds of things. Requirements for if somebody wants to add on, 5,000 square feet to their house, or build a barn in the backyard, or whatever it might be there. This defines all those aspects of that development of property.
So all those have to be approved, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Or they have to seek a zoning appeal, and that's what the Board of Zoning Appeals is for. So, for example, like when Dwayne Lane built the doubles, we had to give him a zoning variance so he could put the buildings where his property lines between the parcels would touch. We had to give an ordinance so that the buildings could be closer together. So, a contractor may ask us for special exemptions if they want to build a subdivision or something, a house, whatever it is, commercial building. Maybe doesn't fit that zoning classification, and that's where the Board of Zoning Appeals would come in. Do you have any questions? So far, I don't.
I think I'm okay so far.
Okay.
And this is Edith, so she's,
Nice to meet you.
she's here. Welcome, Edith. So,
And we'll have to get her information as well.
yep. I have her email address,
Okay.
but I don't have Terry's yet, so.
Okay. So, Dave, do you have any, I've seen your email where you said you didn't really have a whole lot for the wayfinding signs.
No, I didn't have anything, because like I said, I haven't been quite, other than functioning for work, I haven't really.
I understand.
Been functioning. I do have some ideas as far as this, and I'll need to get with Cindy and Leanne on that, and whoever else wants to join in. But we need to kind of identify, as Doug said in the last meeting, we would color code and possibly have sponsors,
Mhm.
business sponsors, or a resident if they wanted to sponsor it. I don't know why a resident would want to sponsor a banner, but what section of town you are in currently, and then what that would look like. So we need some kind of design for those. And then I just wondered whether or not we could hang, like if we wanted a sign right out here on the pole saying Lambert Park's this way,
Mhm.
that's never gonna change. Could we put up a separate, does it have to be a banner? Can it be a separate bracket that just has a sign that matches all the design of all the others? It just says Lambert Park with an arrow running this way.
Like a more permanent aluminum sign.
Yeah, well, something that matches the other banners that we would put up to match. If we try to put a lot of stuff on a banner and it's kind of moving in the wind a little bit, it's gonna be hard to kind of see. So I guess we need to talk to, do you know who got or do you know Hugh? I think we got them before you were a town manager. So the banners that we have, did those have to get through some approval process, or did it?
No, we just ordered them from Downtown Decorations, a company that.
And they went up, nobody said anything about them.
Right.
So I don't see why we couldn't put up a separate banner that has like a directional thing to it. And we could have a banner up that has, you're in the old business district of town, or you're in the park district of the town, or whatever you wanna say, but then have a separate bracket that has the wayfinding piece. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Basically, you're just double bracketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that way, we wouldn't have to put on the banner, the wayfinding information.
That way the business sponsors it would be a larger portion too.
Right,
It'd
yeah,
be
I mean,
easier
it
on the
would be-
wayfinding
yeah,
sign, cause
yeah.
you're thinking the size of those,
Yeah.
the soldier signs,
Yeah.
so that.
Other than, I can't really think of what might change. Some of the structures where that we are guiding people to are never gonna move. So they would always be the same unless the road maybe changed in some way, one way or something like that down the road. But I just see that as being more resilient too, as far as something that's not a fabric, that is a harder piece of material or media or whatever you wanna call it.
You could probably do aluminum, that's how I make my
Aluminum
signs.
or, yeah,
You could get it sheared up, and then those brackets, you could actually, like a cushion clamp almost to go around that bracket arm. You could use the same bracket, and because the brackets look like they have springs on them to kind of absorb some of the wind, so
I
that.
just don't wanna catch the eye of the state highway department going, well, that's a street sign.
No, I mean, if they're white aluminum and then you do like a white background, like the soldier
Yeah.
sign, you know, like cloth material,
Yeah,
and put it, you know, just double stack them, I don't see an issue with them saying anything.
Yeah, I think we'd have, more issues catching the eye of Duke Energy, loading up their
So-
utility poles with stuff
uh-huh,
than we would the state DOT inspector.
okay,
I mean, the DOT inspector is looking for breakaway posts and, you know, those kinds of things. Is it fitting this, manual for uniform traffic control devices,
all right.
standards, and, you know, is it 7 feet off the road and minimum of 7 feet high, and those weird,
Yeah.
criteria
Well,
that they have.
well, what if we have the two brackets now for the banner. What if we use the bottom bracket then to hang another sign that gave directional information? So that way we're not,
Why can't you just set it on top of the road sign? So you got Iowa Street, whatever that street is, and another stack on top of that bracket, and your sign's gonna obviously say park that way, the arrow. Be on your street sign,
Yeah, it would extend the height is what you're saying.
and then
Yeah.
you set another, cause they got them like that, this way and this way, and then they set another.
are you talking about the poles on the corners of the street, at each street? I don't know if that
Pretty
would,
simple.
well, I mean, I guess we could do that. Is the state
It
gonna
wouldn't
have
be
a
on
problem
the
with that?
ground
State has a problem with
or putting something on. the
putting
step.
something that is in the, they don't wanna be liable for getting, sued because somebody crashed into a post, or that post came down and hit somebody.
Sure,
So that's why we can't put up our own individual posts.
right.
But you were saying you could
You're
extend the
gonna use
post
their-
up a little bit.
You're gonna use
Their stop sign
existing
post.
post. So
No,
you got
they
Iowa,
will definitely, if we're using their stuff, they're definitely gonna come in and say something. That's why we were trying to just leverage the telephone pole banners that we have,
So,
because,
You couldn't use their post and adapt
No.
another post to that, the poles that's in it, and extend it up?
not without their permission.
Would be a lot cleaner deal. than
Well, of
that.
course, and I mean,
You could
we
do that
wanted
around
to go
launch
our
house
own
signs.
route with everything, but getting through the state is,
A tug of war.
well, pretty much it.
Yeah, having State Road 39 go through town has proven to be
But
with a challenge, because the state has, just really weird. I
A lot of
mean,
red tape.
we don't have our speed limit signs on
Right.
39 anymore because the state said
we'll take it down.
those are violations. Of what, they won't tell me, but they're in violation of some standard that the state of Indiana has, that I can't tell people to slow down, apparently.
But just beyond their perimeter, you can't, just like literally at the edge of.
So they,
If you get out
they
of
have
it.
no issue with the banners being on the telephone poles, so our thoughts are that we would just take the banners out and replace them with wayfinding signs and banners. And then save some other, like every other one or whatever, have the decorative banners then be for Christmas and every, you know, the DAR tribute
Yeah.
banners, those kinds of things on other poles. So, that way the state, we avoid the state coming in saying anything at all.
Yeah, they don't seem to care about all the banners we put up on the utility poles. So it's if we put up our own freestanding post with anything else on it, that's where they get
distinct.
Beg to forget.
Right, well, and that was kind of another aspect where the banners, we feel like is a win-win, because the banners have lots of room. And a way that they started doing the banners in Avon is businesses are sponsoring the banners and putting their business logo on the bottom quarter of the banner. So the business pays
For that.
the expense
Yeah.
for advertising. And then the rest of it is Town of Clayton's,
Park, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So the business pays for the entire banner,
yeah.
Yeah.
but they don't pay a monthly fee, it's just a
No.
No, no,
one-time fee.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a
just buy the
one-time.
banner.
I definitely am interested in that.
Right,
Yeah.
so, cause, I mean, like I said, it's a win-win, the town gets its, wayfinding, something, that we've designed, a decorative, welcome to the town of Clayton, turn here for park, or
Right.
turn here for whatever, liquor store, or, whatever else we want to point people towards. And then the business has their logo on there also, so it's kind of this great advertisement for, local small businesses here in Clayton that get to say, I'm here.
Yeah, great idea.
I'm gonna guess if we contact a company, vendor that does these, that they'll have people that are very experienced in designing and coming up with something. We're gonna pay for that, but
Yeah, and, the last time I talked to them, they said that they, obviously having every banner customized differently is gonna increase your cost a little bit, because it, once they do the design, if they can put out, 15 banners that look the same, that's a lower cost than
Right.
if we're gonna do 15 banners that are all unique, different.
mhm. I'll make sure I get that taken care of before the next meeting. And then I'll get a hold of Cindy and Leanne about what they come up with designs, or
Yeah.
your input, because I'm sure you've got better experience at that than I do.
And we just have to, again, purchase more brackets, which means a little bit more maintenance involved, because those brackets, well, poles, the fiberglass poles, they don't hold up very well. We replace those quite frequently.
And the brackets are going to be a cost incurred by the, town of Clayton.
Right.
Correct, okay.
Yeah, the town's gonna buy the brackets, because those are things, we can use those for the military banners, for our own holiday banners, for anything else in addition, so that would just be, the town would wanna own those. But the businesses could own their, their portion of that,
Advertising.
yeah, their advertisement, and put those up. And, we could have that as a, as long as the banner is intact, then it stays up. And if it's not intact, then the business would then incur a cost of replacement of that.
Maintenance program.
Should they
There might
choose to
need
stay on
be-
it.
There might need to be like an expiration date on it, just in case, I don't know.
Maybe yearly, like a yearly fee.
I don't know necessarily that there would need to be a fee, but like say,
Could be a replacement.
a business leaves town, and we've got that banner up there, and on whatever contract we sign, we're gonna leave this up until the banner's destroyed, and then, but they've been out of town for 5 years or whatever.
So we probably need to accept some policies about how the banners are
Right.
utilized and then exchanged and changed. For instance, if there's one that has copper top on it and it gets weathered and we need to replace it, then Cindy would have the option of buying a new replacement for it, and if you didn't want to, I mean, if it was beyond recognition, then we would see if D&D might wanna replace it. And that way it changes over to a new sponsor.
Do we know how long those banners typically, would you get a year out of them? Have we had any of those military banners up for like a year?
They
And
stay
they-
up a year, and then you're not allowed to keep them up longer than a year.
I- Do they weather well, I guess is the question.
Yeah, I mean, the holiday banners we bought, that was
That's been
8,
several
10 years
years
ago.
They're starting to crack. I mean,
Okay,
They're not bad at all, still.
yeah,
I mean,
they're still eligible and all that.
cause I guess my thought would be, if the banner only lasts you 6 months or something,
no.
they're a good
They're
quality.
higher quality than
Okay.
that.
I'll ask the vendor, what they expect the lifetime
Yeah, cause that
of
would,
the banner to be. Of
That would
course, they
give you
probably
a-
have an upgrade if you want them to last longer.
Yeah, and the life of the banner will change based on, weather conditions and how long they stay up. I mean, our holiday banners don't stay up 365, so that plays into how long they're going to last. These wayfinding signs, I don't anticipate that we're gonna be taking them down for periods throughout the year. I think once we get them up there, we're gonna want them to stay up there
Right,
indefinitely
right.
until they are destroyed or we have a need to change them out because of a business change or something, but.
yeah, I was just trying to get like a relative, if you're, so like the signs that I rent, it's a yearly deal. I pay for a year, every year, to renew the contract basically to keep my sign on their billboard. If we knew that those banners were gonna last a year and start getting really bad shape, then might look at doing a yearly contract. And then that way, once a year you get fresh signs, if they deteriorated over that year real bad or whatever, I don't know how long they last, so I was asking if the military banner stayed up, if we've had them stay up for a year to see their condition when you go to take them down.
I think they reused them several years now, don't
No, we're not, I mean,
they? The ones we have?
right, we purchased, ones 2 years ago for my dad and then my wife's dad, and once your year is up, you have to take it down. They don't let you extend it. If you want another year, you have to buy a new one for them. So, and they're the two that we got, they're still in excellent condition.
After a year.
Yeah, so.
So you might get 2 years or 3 years out of that sign. Okay, that was just a question, just to think about.
Is Terry and Edith are both on the planning committee?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So if you wanna join in with the collaboration of design and all that, just, like I said, you're gonna be better at this than I am, so.
You're fine.
Not to sound chauvinistic, but that's the truth.
I know, what was it, 3 or 4 years ago, we held a contest to try and see if somebody would help us with designing a town symbol, something that, we would say, this is the town of Clayton's
Mhm.
artwork or whatever, so, and then we didn't get any submissions and stuff,
You're
so
talking about participation, isn't it?
we can.
We're not big
still-
on that around here, so.
We can try that again, push for, we want some, people in Clayton to collaborate together to come up with a, what's the
What?
artwork that
See if
we
someone
want?
at the high school would be interested in.
Yeah, what kinds of, what's a design that you wanna see on our banners for the town of Clayton?
About our resident artist, or
Yeah,
maybe,
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's gotta be legible, big letters. Us old people have a hard time seeing sometimes. So, okay. I think that's about it on the signs. As far as updates, like in our group, I've emailed Pete again the things to you. The map, the interactive map is actually a lot more helpful than my black and white map that I think I gave you a while back, because I was trying to color code and look. So now I can just take pictures of the parcels that I see that aren't right. I've emailed probably 6 or 7 so far. So that was a big help getting that up.
It's a nice interactive thing that they did, so.
Well, I mean, it's the way it's colored, and you can just click right on it, and it shows you it's like the beacon map. It shows you the owner and that kind of stuff with the parcel number. So I just snapped a picture of it and said, hey, I know this isn't right. This, is not colored correctly. Sent it over to him so he can forward it on to Banning. And then a couple of the other things I took a picture out of the book of some things that need to be updated, deleted, reworded, however, to fit current businesses that are in town. Other than that, I don't really have any other updates on it.
And Pete, do we have any more of those comprehensive plan books in the office at all?
I'm not sure.
Because
Jenny probably got her all solid.
if we don't, I can get you copies of the comprehensive plan on a PDF at least. And
It does pull up on the map too.
the comprehensive plan.
I believe so, portion of it, because you can click. So when you pull up the parcel, and then you can click under. There's a UDO link and a comprehensive plan or something to that nature, and you can click and pull it up to look up classifications of things. It takes you right to it. I seen the tab and it had a click thing on it, so I clicked it. And now it will download to your laptop as soon as you click it, or your tablet. So it downloads the file, so you have everything that's in here just in digital form.
And the comprehensive plan, this is brand new. We authorized it last year, and it just kind of gives us, here's an overall goal of Clayton. What do we want to see happen in the next 5 years, next 10 years, that kind of thing. So it's very, there were surveys done and focus groups that we talked to. This was the results of all that.
Map's not exactly mobile friendly, so
It may not, no.
that's not.
Online it's nice. I mean, that was definitely a positive feature to have. But I don't really have anything else to add for that. I don't. You?
For the comprehensive plan?
Well, we were working on. You were in the strategy in the group strategy too. I didn't know if you were had anything to add tonight. I don't.
The last meeting, we talked about us as a group or individually looking through the UDO to find what are the big errors that we see. Because Mary Strotter from Banning is working on a $3,000 limit. She can't go past that. So if we find errors to get her to look at, it'll be better than her sitting there reading through the whole thing herself and then going, okay, here's some of the stuff I found. Big things that we're looking for is, there's a statement in the UDO that doesn't fit with what actually happens in town. And that is definitely something that we want to nursing home, but not an assisted living home. I mean, why is there that distinction? You know, there's just little things like that that you wanna, think about. So, resident over on Pennsylvania has almost, 2 acres of land and wants to build an additional structure on their property to rent to like an in-law quarters or something. Our UDO doesn't mention any kind of thing like that at all. So it's like, do we need to add that? Do we just ignore it and say, build, whatever you want, because it doesn't exclude you from building anything? Or, those kinds of issues.
But just out of curiosity, if like, let's say you ignore it and just say build whatever, who incurs the cost of the sewer system and stuff that they would have to either improve or install?
They do.
Yeah, the property
They do.
owner would,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay.
Any construction, the builder has to get it hooked up to the main line, and then they have to pay their sewer bill.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just know nothing about any of that, so I was like.
The town's
out of
only-
Curiosity.
the town's only required to get the main in front of your house. So like if we annex, say there was a subdivision right outside of town, and we annex that subdivision and they were all on septic, we have a certain time frame to run a main to that and down their streets. We don't have any requirement to hook up to their house, but when they hook up, we charge them a hookup fee. Like as their septic systems fail, they need to hook up to the system type thing.
Which in that example, that would all have to be spelled out in the annexation documents
Correct.
of, we're gonna annex you, here's the services we're gonna provide your community that we annex into town. And then you would say, within 24 months or 48 months, everybody's gonna be on the town wastewater treatment plant, sanitary sewer collection system, or however you wanna word it, but,
Yeah, I was just trying to give
yeah.
an idea that we're required to get it to the front of the house, the main, not actually hooked up to the house. They're required, the homeowner's required or the builder's required for the hookup, if that answers your question. So then the next biggest thing that we have is our annex meeting coming up on the 21st at 7 p.m. What we've done is invited, like there's the old annex map, the last time we had tried annexation to grow the size of the town. What we did is we sent letters out to those landowners again, inviting them to come in as kind of an open house forum to discuss like a pros and cons of what they're thinking about annexation, what they're concerned about, or what they might like to come into town before we start an official process of going to annexation. So we as a group can put together an official proposal once we start the official proceedings on the annexation. And that will be at 7 p.m. on the 21st.
Of January,
Yes, of this month.
I will be able to make it.
Okay.
I was last on the 18th to the 1st.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
I think the whole room's going to Florida. Sorry.
We gotta make that.
Those letters went out, correct?
Yeah. Well, this is just like
He
an
would
open.
be the one to answer that question.
Letters did go out,
Should we
right?
mail the letters out?
No, they're on my desk right now.
Okay.
We're gonna mail them out this week. I didn't wanna mail them too early, so they forget, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I would forget.
Well, you got to give the post office time to lose it.
Good.
And there's no more Thursdays.
They've lost a few of my packages recently.
We can also post, information on social media, on the sign,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
here. Everybody's invited to a public annexation meeting.
Yes. So, like, if you were going to be here, I've got some pros and cons wrote down, different things. So if you guys have ideas of what you would think would be a pro to be in the town or a con to be in the town, then, you know, like, we'll put that together collectively. We'll have those answers for those people, as a group, when the questions come up. So if you guys can have that kind of wrote down, you know, for the meeting. Of course, I know you won't be here, but that's what we're doing. And then we'll take their information. I'll try to collect a pros cons list from them. We'll just print something off and just have it so we can hand it out to them. And they could fill it out, Pete, and put it back in the box, and we can look at that and see what we'll have their concerns in writing before we start the official process. So that way, if we need to make an accommodation or something, like one of my thoughts is we're trying to annex a bunch of farm ground, and we haven't, as far as I know, we still have an ordinance that says no shooting of guns in town. Well, now you put all the farm ground in town that people hunt on, technically they can't hunt on it. And I personally don't think that's right. That should be changed. Or have an amendment
Is the town
for
gonna be
that.
able to lease that back to the farm ground?
It still stays farm ground. The only difference is it goes from the county. So when you annex, all you're doing is you're growing the incorporated size city or town limits of Clayton, and then you're removing that from being county zoned, and now it's coming into the town and it operates under the town. And then those people obviously have a right to sit here or to run for town council or whatever, because now they're counties. I don't know. Members of the town, there you go.
How hard would it be to change that ordinance?
I believe we just put together a proposal and then I would go to the town council, since I'm the chair, and propose it to the town council, and then they would put it before them as a vote to change the ordinance. I believe that's the proper.
When you say that there's not, I mean, I already know that there's not shooting in the Clayton property. There isn't room for anyone to shoot on the property in this part, but you're saying if the farmland got annexed in, would you want that ordinance or that variance to be outside of the perimeter of downtown, or how would that work?
My personal opinion, this is just my thought to this, we don't need an ordinance that says no shooting of firearms. You need a noise ordinance. So because how can you tell the difference between a firecracker and a firearm? Technically speaking, it's noise.
I disagree though on.
But because of here's why. I'm not trying to cut you off. I've just finished my thought. A lawful gun owner is not going to discharge a firearm in an unsafe manner, because if he does, then he can be charged with unsafe discharge of a firearm or reckless discharge of a firearm and actually serve, right, exactly, and go to jail for it and lose all his
Well, I
rights.
know in Clayton, I've not lived here all my life, and you probably have very responsible gun owners because they grow up learning to use them and this and that. But I lived in Indianapolis, and the man 3 doors over from me put 3 bullets in my roof.
That's the difference.
But see, that's unlawful discharge of a firearm and reckless discharge of a firearm, and technically he should have been charged
Right.
with such crime and then
Right.
went to court for it.
I live on 350, which is just barely outside of Clayton, and it's Stylesville, and my son and I just recently, literally at 11:15, ran out of the house because someone shot a gun. Now, we all have a little bit of land between us, but it was the neighbor closest to us, the house that's closest to us, that we thought we heard the gunshot from, and I mean, I know that there's a shooting range across the street for that house, but they have a huge distance. I don't know what the proper safe distance would be. They have a bunker built, and they have like whatever it is that you have to, where it shoots into a
Burn.
raised- Yes, but the people next to us, no, and their backyard is literally from here to there. It's the people behind them that own all that other land behind them. So at 11:15 at night, 11:30 at night, I mean, it was like, I don't know, I was just asking because, how would we do that as a committee? Because I agree, if somebody's got a lot of farmland, they should be able to shoot on it, I mean, safely, obviously, but here in town,
Yeah, but I mean, if you're
Just 'cause
saying,
you're responsible doesn't mean everybody's gonna be responsible.
okay, but here's an example, you're saying here in town, right? And this is just an example, cause you're gonna have houses that we annex that are similar to this house.
Yeah.
But is, Georgia Stadler and Steve Stadler's old house, the two-story brick down here in the curve, right across from, I can't think, yeah, Mr. John. They can safely discharge firearms there. That, there's plenty of ground right there, they can have a nice berm set up right at the back of their property, which is field behind that, there's no houses behind that. But technically, currently, right now, they're in the town and they can't do that. And if you go and annex houses down zero, that can still safely do that currently, cause their lot size fits it,
Okay.
then now you're asking them, in this one example, you're asking them, hey, you gotta quit doing something that you've been accustomed to doing. You know, and then as far as, that's where a noise ordinance comes in.
Right. Well, that's why
I-
I'm asking, because we're gonna have that meeting, so I'm thinking you're right.
Right.
I didn't think
I
that.
think whatever we annex is my opinion, and this is how I'm gonna stand on the town council, is that if we have an ordinance against, noise, and if we have ordinances, whatever they might be in detail about firearms and shooting in town, that will expand out to the annexed area.
That's why I
And
was
then
asking.
if there is a resident that wants an exception, they can come before the BZA and planning committee, make their case, and then we allow them to have an exception.
Okay.
It could be a simple 5-minute process, but that way we don't blanketly change everything for the town just because there's a couple people out there that wanna have a shooting range in their backyard.
Well, let me ask you this, was it not once said by a former police officer, this is just a question, cause you guys are council members and I'm sure you were around then, but were you not informed, and I could be wrong in this, that police officers cannot lawfully enforce that ordinance of no discharging of firearms?
They can't enforce it for the person that we were talking about, which is outside the town limit, one property. And the only thing that they could go do is contact the county about a noise ordinance, to have the county go over and talk to them about it.
Okay.
So in town, they can certainly say whatever they need to say that follows ordinances.
Okay, I was just curious, I took that as they couldn't, that was an unenforceable ordinance, but they can enforce a noise ordinance, because it's an audible thing,
Yeah.
because they can't trespass on
Well,
a property. to
the
do that.
conversation I remember was Chief Oliphant when he was here, and it was in regard to the property. It's number 6 over there, I think. It's the one at the end of York, property at the end of York, is the one we were getting complaints about.
Yeah, it was just asking, I don't know, cause I remember there was something to the effect of, a lot of the big towns don't have it either, they have noise ordinances. But I would caution that, I mean, I understand your position, I get it, but that will probably be a big stumbling block for farmers, which is the ground that you're wanting to get.
Well, I mean, one of the conversations that I had with Chief Oliphant was if we had a person within the town limits discharging their firearm, and he had to go enforce the law, and the unsafe discharging of a firearm is a state law,
Mhm.
and then our town ordinance don't discharge your weapon inside of our town limits. He said the one that's gonna have the biggest teeth is a state law,
Mhm.
so he wouldn't even worry with writing a citation on this town ordinance. He would go to the prosecutor with the state law violation. And so, I mean, if the police aren't gonna worry with this, the smaller violation, then what difference does it make whether it's on the books or not?
I understand. It just makes a difference for guys that are hunting on property or want to target shoot on property that they can do, and we're asking them to be part of the town. Is my thought. That's just one subject. I mean, I know.
Got to be thought out, because you're right, they're gonna go again that if they, if they shoot or target practice or hunt or whatever it is on this subject of ground, they're gonna annex.
Well, not only that, you have police officers that moved out here and maybe they can shoot at their house safely.
would be a big deal for them.
I mean, I can't for the life of me think of one of these properties we're trying to annex where there's a lot of really good hunting at.
I don't know, I didn't look at it.
Yeah.
Here's the bigger thing too, you have a lot of officers of different departments that's moved into a lot of these outlying houses. If they can safely shoot and target practice, and now you're asking them to move to be part of town, that can also be a big fight.
We'll find out the 21st.
Yeah, right, I know that was a big stickler the last time.
I think the biggest thing that we want to have happen on the 21st is we want people to come and freely say, hey, here's why I'm for this, or here's why I'm against this, so that we can make a plan
Mm-hmm.
on what do we need to do. If we don't have a single person come in here and talk about the firearm issue, then we don't have to deal with it.
Right.
If we have a whole bunch of people come in here and ask about, well, what's gonna happen to my taxes? Which
Sure.
I anticipate that being one of the bigger things.
Yeah, because the last time the farmers were afraid of
My
it.
taxes going to change because you're annexing me into town, kind of that, so. For some people, the answer will be yes.
I do not believe that in we mentioning the pros and cons that we do not even bring up well, you're not gonna be able to shoot your gun off on your property. That is a con. I don't think we should mention that. I think if that is an issue somebody has, then that would be an individual issue that they would bring up and talk to us about later. Promoting that and I'm sorry, but we spend a lot of time talking about this, and I just don't see where it's that big of an issue where it can be taken care of later down the road after the annexation is done by making a simple exception for that property.
Well, I guess here's the thing. Here's where I'll just give you my personal opinion of it. We have a thing in this country called the Constitution. Second Amendment says that we can do that. Now, we also have laws that keep us safe, but to tell a person that they can't do something that's constitutionally protected,
I'm not
it's
telling them they
ridiculous.
can't do it, I'm just telling them they have to come in here and get an exception.
Well, currently it says no discharge of firearms.
The
which-
state has a no discharge.
Unlawful discharge.
Right, so what's lawful?
Lawful discharge is discharging your firearm in a safe manner
Okay.
or in self-defense. So
Then-
if someone breaks into my home,
So what, so you go and you change the policy for the town on discharging a firearm, making it possible, so if I wanna set up a deer stand in my yard, I can?
you can put the deer stand up all day long.
And I can hunt?
You can put a deer stand up all day long. What's the hunting rules? What's
That's
the
what we
hunting
need
rules
to,
and
that's what we need to
regulations?
discuss and find out. Not
You're-
just blankly say, got grandfather in or take in somebody that's wants to shoot out in their property.
You're missing the point.
I'm not missing the point, you're missing the point.
No, sir. I'm not.
Hey Doug, do you know offhand?
Not trying to argue with you. I'm just telling you that
Lower than
I-
8,000
you have
Yes.
constitutional rights.
I understand the constitutional right really well. I'm well versed in it.
Okay. All right.
I'm talking about the safety of residents
Yes.
and the current safety of residents within the town and then the
Right.
safety of residents that may be
Correct.
annexed in.
And what's the problem for like Georgia Stadler's house? Should they set a berm up and I can target practice right there? Nothing. It's in a safe manner.
I don't know where George
Right
Sanders
across
lives.
the two-story brick farmhouse right in the curve on 39, right across
On
from
the
John
outside
Collins.
curve. That used
I'm
to be
using that house
established.
as an example because it does have a safe backdrop. It does have the ability to have a safe berm to where they can
And
target
it's
practice
going
should they want.
to affect noise ordinances then. You're gonna have some residents complaining about it.
But you can make as much noise as you want in daylight hours.
You can't.
What's the
If it's a
decibel level?
nuisance, you can't.
What's the decibel level?
I don't know, Nick.
What about dogs that bark all day long?
Then we have served papers on them and tell them that they need to be taken care of.
Well, I agree, I'm totally for the noise ordinance if it's followed through,
One of the things
because
that
I have that problem
made
around,
Clayton more promising,
car.
because
You know,
you
that
lived in
disrupts
Indianapolis
people's,
and
in the middle of the
I
night.
made nothing out
I
of it.
mean, just
Yeah, compared
some
to
kid
what we just went up.
revving the shit out of it. you know, and they called the law,
But yeah, if they
but
look
the
at.
law wouldn't enforce that,
you
they
know,
just blowed them and me off as a
Yeah,
noise.
or Plainville.
Well, I knew
And,
Plainfield.
so that noise was, if they would, if you
I'm
guys
not
would
sure about
enforce
that.
that,
I know
Avon.
it could be used for a lot of different things.
Correct.
What a cry.
I mean, just saying, that happened to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was embarrassing.
House from
I own the place. It just takes money, you know?
Right.
Anyways,
Well, I mean, our goal is to glean information from the people who attend. What are your concerns? You know, why would you be for this? Why would you be against this? What questions can we answer? What, you know, kinds of collaborations can we work on
Yeah,
towards this goal? I mean,
open it up and see
we
what happens.
have, yeah, and, you know, a municipality in Indiana who wants to annex has to have a plan. Here are the services we are going to provide your property once you become part of our municipality. So, in Clayton, our only utility is sewer. So, we're not gonna provide you with municipal water. I mean, we're not. So, if you're here saying, I wanna be annexed because I want municipal water,
we'd take it if they build it.
um, you know, just kinda trying to find out. You know, there are 3 different levels of, annexation available to municipalities in Indiana. So the first one is, a super voluntary. And that means that the town and the property owner both agree, we wanna do this, alright? And so the last annexation we did was a super voluntary, because we annexed in the town's wastewater treatment plant and Mr. Penner's, what was it, that was his 50 acres or
Yeah.
25 acres, whatever it was, anyway. So, then there is a voluntary annexation where, the town and just over 50% of the properties that you are annexing in have agreed, we want to be annexed. 49% can say, I don't wanna be annexed, it's still a voluntary annexation, because greater than 50% of the properties. So if we have this list of properties, and, you know, whatever it is, 27 or 26, whatever, so if 13 of those properties, or 14 of those properties have said, yes, we wanna be annexed, we can still annex all 26, even though the other 13 have said, I don't want this. That's still a voluntary annexation. And then there's an involuntary annexation, which is harder to do, but it's still possible. That would mean 51% of these properties have said, I don't wanna be annexed in, and 49% or less have said, I do. So, you have to be careful. That's the one that 4 years ago, Brownsburg lost their court case, where they tried to annex a community and they didn't follow the rules. And it was a involuntary annexation, and they took them to court, and the property owners won. So if you don't follow the rules, now if Brownsburg had followed the rules, they would have won their case and they would have still been able to annex, but they didn't. So that's, all of these things play into that. But you know, our very first step is just to get these folks in here and say, you talk to us, you tell us, you know, what your feelings are about this.
Yeah.
Why do you want this? Why do you not want this? What can we do to work together to help this process along? Cynthia asked about taxes, and so there are only 2 other incorporated municipalities in Hendricks County that have lower taxes than Clayton. 2. Every place else is higher taxes.
That's amazing.
We are paying right now about 46 cents on the $100 value for property taxes. Plainfield is at 97 cents per $100 value. More than double.
Yeah.
So,
So when someone brings that up, we have that.
yeah, you
as a
have to
toolbox.
just look at those kinds of things, and I don't know what the numbers are on, Danville. I can look them up, before the 21st to make sure to have, those numbers, but it's just simply one of those aspects of, now, you know, unfortunately, 4 years ago, it was kind of flippantly, well, you don't wanna be part of Plainfield, and I think we need to be careful about just that, but regardless of whether you believe it or not, Plainfield is rapidly moving west. And, I mean, the last redevelopment commission meeting I went to in Plainfield, they were talking about their $180 million worth of projects on the west side of Plainfield. You don't spend that much money to not continue progressing. And so, I don't know how long that's gonna take.
Yeah.
They already own the water all the way to Belleville. The golf course is in Liberty Township, but Plainfield has rights over their taxes because they've annexed them into Plainfield.
Not currently, have they?
Yes,
The
the
la-
golf course.
How did they get through to the golf course? Because they were still fighting Owen Hack, the largest farmer, largest landowner, and
The
they could
golf
not
course
get
on
through.
40, not.
Yes, okay, different golf course.
on 40.
Sorry, I was thinking,
Wait, no,
Huh?
Oak Tree.
Tree.
Oak Tree.
sorry, I was thinking Deer Creek when you said
No,
that.
no, Oak Tree Golf Course on 40.
Yep.
Where Brew
Brew
Link
Link, yeah.
is also.
They've had that
at,
for a
so-
year or so.
So that's in the municipal boundaries of Plainfield. There are students who are coming to Cascade and Mill Creek schools from that neighborhood just by that golf course. And the school system has to fight with Plainfield to get the taxes from them because they're in Plainfield's borders.
Mhm.
So our library is losing money to Plainfield for taxes because of how much they've annexed into Liberty Township. So these are just, you know, little things that everybody needs to be aware of as we're looking at this. I mean, our goal, our purpose, we need to be unified in this, is, I mean, we want to not be so landlocked inside of, you know, Plainfield when they do come all the way out this way that we can't do anything. So we're trying to build a buffer, a donut kind of a idea, you know, a moat, if you will, around Clayton to be able to survive in the future if we need to. But if Plainfield owns the property right up to the back of the apartments, then we're stuck. We have no
We have no growth.
hope of, right, ever growing in that direction. So, those are just some things to think about for the meeting on the 21st. Is we're not just trying to, you know, siphon more taxes out of you. Although with some of these properties, the residences, that will happen. Your taxes will go up from the county. The county's taxes are much lower than Clayton's.
But the biggest thing too is if we can get that and then get down to Belleville as a town, and then maybe look at that point, look at annexing Belleville in, and that's more residents right there. Cause that's the next area that's gonna grow out here, excluding south of 40. On the north side of 40, right there in Belleville, is gonna be the next fast food restaurant, gonna be the next strip mall or whatever big development. It's bare ground right down there on 40 with good road access. So if we can get the farmer on board that owns that all the way down through there, that would be great.
Stop it. Stinker.
I mean, annexation will be, good boost
That's a
to
myth.
Clayton, as far as giving us that breathing room, the ability to plan for the future, if we, have some development that might come in. We already have a comprehensive plan that lays out, a concept of controlled growth. And so we're not looking to approve a bunch of vinyl villages around Clayton. And that, can be one of those things that, we bring up, that we have to have growth. I mean, that's just the fact.
Whatever happened to the growth that was gonna be at the north end of town around that pond? That guy bought that ground in there somewhere, south of the pond, or something about townhouses. Did that get, washed out, or?
No, I mean,
Same
one,
thing?
it's, what's his name, the dentist,
I forgot.
or the chiropractor.
Yeah.
What's his last name? Anyway, so he wants to do that. Part of, his issue is looking at, am I gonna recoup the money that I put into these,
Correct.
townhomes kind of thing, so. And,
He's still active, semi-active, so to speak.
yeah, super nice guy, he's busy. His chiropractor, practice takes him to Florida 3 days a week.
Spinal Logic in Danville, who he.
Is that where he's at?
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes to Florida 3 days a week to work on people's backs down there,
That's great.
and then flies back here and takes care of people up in Danville.
Yeah.
But,
That's great.
Mike, anyway, I can't, he's,
He had a business partner for a while too, wasn't that part of the?
yes, his business partner, and he died in a car crash in 2019. It was kind of a tragic thing that, because they were shovel ready on Clayton Commons. So they were approved, everything was, getting ready to
He
go.
was talking about
start.
entry exit.
Right, Regan, and then, yeah, so, Woolard,
Yes,
Ward.
yes,
That's it.
Woolard.
yes.
It's gonna come to my
You
head.
said talk your way through it.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm done.
mine like a steel trap. So he would still love to do that, and, he's even, last time we talked to him, all for annexing in his property that's,
It was a decent amount.
Yeah. so we just have to, again, make progress on following through on some of this stuff. I don't know if we can, give him some different incentives, maybe with our redevelopment commission, things, do something with a TIF, district for him, like we were talking about with the other one, see what we can accomplish with that, but anyway. I'm pretty, excited about the opportunity to talk to, this group of people for annexation and say, again, talk to us about what your concepts are,
Feel them out.
yeah. Let's see what kind of deal we can work, with getting this done.
I think it's a better approach that way than just stone cold hitting them with annexation. Like the last go around.
Let it kinda roll
Or
on.
I assume, because the first meeting I attended was that meeting that night, but I don't know how it was presented prior. I didn't know how the letters and stuff went out, but I assume they just got hit with letters. Hey, this is what
You
we're
know what
doing.
got everybody here though, was Dan accidentally put the wrong date on the letter. The letters went out, because on Microsoft Word, if you start typing the month, it just gives you the opportunity to put today's date. So he's typing that out, and he hits tab, puts today's date on that letter, mails it out. So when it gets to everybody's house, the date of the meeting was last week. And they were like, wait a minute, you already had the meeting?
social media stuff that people just were blowing up, accusing of,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
trying to get
So
this
they were,
through
it
without.
was a packed
public-
house, and I'm like, I mean, we got here, didn't we?
Well, we could get a cook maybe, and that would bring people in, you know, offer hamburgers,
Yeah.
Get a taco truck out front, you get them in.
something.
Everybody loves tacos, I think. I like tacos. Okay, that's all we have for this evening's meeting. That's all I have. All you guys have. Meeting adjourned.